Hey there guys, welcome back for another Mortal Realms magazine review. This week taking a look at issue 53 of the Mortal Realms magazine. And today, not a huge saving on this. In fact, I think it's almost not a saving at all. We actually come at a loss with this. Two paints, Mournfang Brown and Troll Slayer Orange. Obviously these are usually $2.75 each, so we pay $7.99 for essentially £5.50's worth of models, but obviously when compared to our savings as a whole over the entire series, you know, getting a few issues where we're paying a little bit more than it was to buy these, you've got to remember you're still getting the magazine as well, with your rules and all the other bits that come in it. So, you know, it's still not bad value for money. Like I say, when looking at the collection, look at it as a saving on a whole, not always per issue, because those issues where we're saving £8, £9, £10 and we're only spending, or we're only losing £3.50 here, so between two issues, a £10 one on this one, we're still saving money. So there we go, a couple of paints, stick them in my growing paint collection. Now obviously in here we've got Mournfang Brown using Realmscape features in battle, and Troll Slayer Orange. And before we get into that, we've got another fold out. So this one is for the Realm of Chaos. So obviously showing us a few of the variety of things that we can get for Chaos. A little bit too big, just almost get it on camera. But essentially we've got Khorne's Lot. So the demonic legions. Typically these are your big your demons, your beasts, your, I think they call them Black Knights or something like that. The guys with all the human looking stuff, but they've got the heavy armour, the axes typically and stuff like that. They all belong to Khorne. Then we got Tzeentch, the demon lord of change, or the demon god of change. And obviously a lot of his guys are all these really weird, freaky looking things, all usually twisted and warped and really vibrant and bright. Then we've got my favourite, Nurgle, and obviously very representative of the current world situation. Nurgle's rot has been unleashed on the world, and so I hope you guys are staying safe and fighting back against him. But yeah, he gets all the disgusting, vile creatures, you know, rotting pestilence and all the rest of it. And then we have Selanesh. So obviously he's the kinky demon, the one that likes all the pleasure and pain, or pleasure through pain. So obviously he's got his demonites, and just a lot more bondage, that's what it is, isn't it? BDSM type stuff. So if you're into that, then maybe that's an army for you to collect, or if it's something within you that you like to keep quiet but would like, then yeah, go for that. And on the reverse of this, we've got a little bit about the different domains, so Slaneshes, Nurgles, and Khorne and Tzeentch. And then here we have got just obviously the bit about the Realm of Chaos, so that will be in the folder, and then we can fold out. Then getting into the issue, so Tempest's Eye. High above the fiery plains of the Brimstone Peninsula stands Tempest's Eye. This vast metropolis sits atop Titan Spear Mountain and acts as a watchful guardian over Akshi. And then we have so the Living City, and then we have this little tree, very much looks like the Tree of Life. It's a symbol of the Living City, combines Sigmar's comet with a tree that represents the lush lands of Giran. This mirrors the unity that defines this city. And we've got Iron Oak, a little bit on the season of war. So obviously this is about the the cool tree branch looking guys. Then Death, and we have Neferata, the Mortarch of Blood. And a quick note on this, they have just announced, I don't know if some of you guys have seen, I should probably make videos like that, but I'm not too sure on how to go about doing them, and I get the information a little bit late. There are obviously other channels here on YouTube that you should definitely check out if you're more into the latest releases and what is coming to Age of Sigmar as a whole. I will be trying to get into more for 40k and start doing announcements on 40k releases, but as I say, Age of Sigmar, it's not my greatest passion. I'm grabbing the magazine to try and get back into it a little bit more, and obviously for content for you guys. But yeah, the Vampire Lords is something that I was missing from the old world, and now that they are coming back, it's an army that I may look into doing if I decide to stick with Age of Sigmar. They may be the next army I do, if not Nurgle. And Neferata, the Mortarch of Blood, I know she is not fully she's not vampire, but she's part of Death, which means she can fight in a vampire based army. Anyway, Mortarch of Blood. So it is said that all vampires are descendants of the legendary Neferata, Mortarch of Blood. Ancient, cunning and utterly ruthless, she is the queen of Nulamia and a ruthless agent in service to Nagash. So she is vampire. But this is why I want her. Sod the spirit hosts, just noted them things, although these guys obviously not as bad as the ones that we've had to build. But this, I love these models with the skeletons inside these beasts, and the fact that obviously she's Death means that she can go with a vampire army. I do love vampires. If you guys play Magic the Gathering, a year or so ago, vampires was a big part of one of the releases then, and I loved my vampire deck. Unfortunately, it's no longer legal to play with them, but obviously friendly matches is still okay to use. But I had what I would consider an unbeatable army for that. Anyway, coming back to the magazine, sorry there guys, little bit here on destruction, so obviously orcs and things like that. So Gorka Morka, the twin-headed god. Powerful, unpredictable and savage, Gorka Morka is the patron god of destruction. Since the age of myth, this twin-headed god has made a brutal mark upon the mortal realms, both through his followers and his own devastating rampages. Now, again, I know who Gorka Morka is. I'm not totally up on the lore in terms of Age of Sigmar, so hopefully somebody watching this can let me know down in the description. But I was always under the impression that Gorka Morka was actually two gods in one body, and he could split into the two physical guys, Gork and Mork. If I've misread that somewhere, let me know. But it seems here that they are saying that he's now an orc with two heads or something. Not entirely sure, but it seems that he doesn't tend to have the models for him. I don't know if he did before. I just remember reading that it was Gork and Mork, and when they fought together they became Gorka Morka. But anyway, so we got the worshippers of Gorka Morka. Gorka Morka's might manifest through wild, unpredictable magic as well as through brute strength. Those who praise the twin-headed god can unleash his fury with a vast variety of spells capable of shattering foes. So we got Weird Knob Shamans. Obviously, if you guys collected, if you're premium subscribers, then you get him in Premium Kit 3. I believe it was. So yeah, you get one of these guys. Then we got the Wurgog Prophets, Butchers, which are obviously parts of Ogres, and Fungoid Cave Shamans. Okay, so the paints that we got today, Mournfang Brown and Troll Slayer Orange, are used to paint rust effects, and this is exactly how I used to do mine. Thin the brown down, paint it onto your blades, splotch it on a little bit as it dries. I don't know if the camera can pick it up. Let's see if we can get a zoom in there. So if we can see it, we get this sort of what I call tea staining, where you get this sort of dark ring, and obviously you then do the same with your Troll Slayer Orange and you get this really nice rust effect. Now obviously the downside, or not so much the downside, the alternative to this is to use, trying to think of it now, Rise of Rust. I have used it in my previous videos, it's what I do use. Typhus Corrosion, that's the one. Typhus Corrosion, instead of the Mournfang Brown, will give you a texture, a gritty texture in there. And then Rise of Rust is a dry paint, and so you can dry brush it instead over the top, and it will give a slightly different effect to this. You could also use the three combined, so the Rise of Rust and the Typhus Corrosion, and then some thinned down Troll Slayer Orange. Or if you don't want to buy the the Rise of Rust, sorry, a little bit of Troll Slayer Orange onto a dry brush, obviously wipe off the excess and dry brush it over. It's going to pick up the edges. You're not going to get the textured effect on the Mournfang Brown, so don't do it for that. Use it only on the Typhus Corrosion and it will be the same as using the Rise of Rust. If you want to use Mournfang Brown and get some texture in there, you can do so with a little bit of baking powder. Put some of that into, obviously not into your pot of paint, but into a small blob of paint. Just make up a small extra bit and paint that on, and that will give just a very fine texture. If you want a little bit more of a grittier texture, then very fine aquarium sand can work as well, though it will be a little bit bigger. I'd say stick with the baking powder. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, and that will give you the Typhus Corrosion texture. And then again, you can either dry brush with the Troll Slayer Orange or Rise of Rust. But if you just want to use what comes in the mag, then this is perfectly fine and gives a great rust finish, just minus the bit of grainy, gritty texture. So obviously they're showing on how to use it on different areas, different metals. Then we've got how to paint night haunts. So now we've got enough paints to make our night haunts look even better. After painting the rust, add details using the following steps. So now they're on about using some of our, going back to some of our other paints that we've been receiving, and obviously you can see here they're saying to go over with Corellia Green Shade, focusing on recessed areas. Obviously stay away from the white edges, and this will give a smoother look to the Nylock Oxide. We can use the Nylock Oxide for oxidization on metals and stuff that we've already painted up. Then we've got Grimghast Reaper's Blindfolds, going through with the Mournfang Brown, Agvax Earthshade Wash, and then Troll Slayer Orange as a highlight. Dreadwarden Candle Flames, obviously they're showing us now how to paint flames up. Mournfang Brown for the bases, using Rakarth Flesh as a highlight for skulls, bone and other stuff. Pallid Witch Flesh as a final highlight on top of the Rakarth Flesh. Drum skins, rope, and all sorts like that. And then these are what we're going to have with the finished night haunts. So obviously we've got the Night of Shrouds, the Dreadblades and the Stalkers, and all the rest of it. And yeah, that's that. So then we've got Camon, the Realm of Metal. Now this is part of the core, I believe this is. So this is E Realms 3, but that looks a bit wrong to me. I think that they may have made a mistake with where this goes, I'll let you know, as obviously I've got to stick it in my folders, but that just doesn't quite seem right for the rules that they've got the realms in. But then looking at it, I think it is part of the the Realmscape feature and entangling, so it's part of what we were looking at. I believe it was last week's issue, with using specific realms to fight in for added bonuses and effects. So it may be that is right. So we've got Realmscape features, transmutive lands, entangling rule, and then obviously you know how to play all that. Then we've got the battle is the breakthrough, and this is the realm of metal. Yep, so new reinforcements have arrived in the Sigurn and are ready to fight. As Stormcast Eternals join the war, they find themselves opposed by both the relentless dead and the realm itself. So again, as they did last time, we've got this that is added in the middle to show us where the battle is going on within the realm of Sigurn. And then this is the battle plan. So the battle plan for this, again, 3 mats. We're using this quite often now. Nighthaunts deploy on either end, short end. Obviously we've got the rules on that in here. I'm assuming you can deploy in both ends if you wish. You can split your armies up into both ends. Stormcast territory is the centre mat only, right to the edge of it, so where the 2 mats join, and then 6 inches forward from that. Which, looking at the army, it's probably quite a bit to try and cram in this small area. But the armies are Nighthaunts, so we've got an Execution Horde, which consists of a Lord Executioner and 3 units of 1 Spirit Host. 2 units of 10 Chain Rasps, so that's 10 and 10. A Dreadblade Harrow, another Dreadblade Harrow, and the Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed. And then we've got the Stormcast Eternals, is the Lord Arcanum on Gryph-Charger, 3 Gryph-Hounds, 4 Liberators, 3 Prosecutors, 5 Sequitors, and 1 Knight Azeros. And I'm quite surprised that it's 3 Gryph-Hounds, because we've got 4 of them now. Unless I'm missing where the 4th Gryph-Hound, or the first one that we got, was supposed to be with another unit. I would have thought that we'd be using 4 Gryph-Hounds instead of 3 now, but obviously use what they're telling you. Okay, so next week, issue 54, we've got the ruins, as I said last week. As far as I know, this is the last set of ruins that we get in this theme, and then we will be moving on to the ruins of the what I call the Egyptian looking stuff. And saying that, nope, this isn't the last. We've actually got another Sigmar statue, a full-size Sigmar statue to come yet, and I believe then it's the Egyptian stuff. I think he's after the start of that stuff, but yeah, so we've got that coming up. And issue 55, we get a Lord Arcanum on Celestial Draco line. Now last episode, or the one before, I can't remember what it was, I was talking about the Gryph-Charger guy, saying that we get him. We don't. This is who I thought he was. It's this that obviously we get, not that one. That's just a better Lord Arcanum on Gryph-Charger than the one we got with these magazines. Personally, I would have preferred that one that they were showing in that issue to the one that we did get, but that's just personal preference. But yeah, this guy's pretty cool, and I think we actually get a couple of Draco lines, whatever they're called. Not sure if the Lord Arcanum is on them. I think we get him on one and then 2 others, or we get 2 Lord Arcanums on Draco lines. I'm not too sure, but I do know, well, I'm 90% sure that we do get 2 Draco lines. Anyway, once again, that brings us to the end of another episode, guys. Thank you ever so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, especially if you enjoy the video. Obviously it helps the channel grow, and the sooner I can get more support, more followers, the sooner I can start doing more and more for the channel. Obviously without knowing where the channel's heading, keeps me a little bit restrained on what I can do for it, but obviously, you know, I'm doing what I can. And if you are newly subscribed to the channel, then thanks ever so much for your support, and welcome to the club, so to speak. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video, guys. So until next time, take it easy and keep painting those minis.